stock market, closing down a bank, fixing an election. It's all easy.
Right on.
What a bunch of trash.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Trash Movie Kings podcast. This is your host, Joseph Graham. It is October. We should be watching a horror movie, but instead, we're doing something a little different today. Speaking of different things, Adam, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Round of applause. It's good to be back.
Yeah, how are you right off the top?
I'm glad everybody's gates caught their applause.
We did it quietly so we can pipe it in later. It's professional.
It's a professional show now.
Stage claps.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good. It's good to be back on, what is this, like episode 87, I think?
101, my friend.
Yeah.
101.
No, that can't be right. Because my notes say that we ended around 87.
The year is almost past. We were able to do 12 episodes without you.
No, we stopped at the Boxer's Omen, which was quite a while ago. So
it was
I don't
beginning
know.
of the year, I guess. Yeah, that was like the first thing we did in January. That was my half-ass attempt in January. But a lot has transpired since then. We took 4 months off. We've done one. Things have been sparse around here.
Then we started doing the podcast again, one person at a time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sparse, Justin, how are you? That's the best segue I've ever had, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've been better.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Sounds
a little
good.
Joey intro.
Yeah.
Things have been better. My sinuses are killing me.
I don't get to do those anymore because no one asks me how I'm doing, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. It's weird, right? You
Yeah,
ask
it is
everybody
weird.
else how they're doing and nobody cares.
Yeah, it's weird. I hadn't even thought about it until just now, but that's fine.
We did switch places, Joey. I had to clean mold out of my house this last weekend.
Ooh. Shit.
Where was the mold located?
In
In your ass?
Yes. Well, probably is a good chance because it was in our well, you can't say master anymore. What do you call it? Primary bathroom?
Yes.
In the toilet.
The owner's retreat.
The owner's retreat. In the toilet room specifically, because we don't have an AC vent inside this little tiny toilet room. That is adjacent to the actual bathroom with the shower. So all like the steam from the shower goes in there. We just have the shit fan.
I mean, yeah, they're supposed to have that on a lot, but speaking of shit fans, JD Karpicki is here.
The number one
We got that
shit
thing
fan
back.
of the show. Shit fan that crawled into your hearts and into your lives.
And now is basically a co-host.
Yeah, basically. Oh man, I guess the best way to describe how I feel right now is a impromptu Jason Schwartzman drum solo in a sea of confusing plot devices.
That felt like a very Wes Anderson scene.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, not to get too much into it, but yeah, I've had a really, really tough couple weeks, but this, seeing you three is just, made my night. So I'm going to just delight in how absurd that was. And yeah, let's have a
good old fashioned.
Oh God, good old fashioned concealed boner night. I'm so sorry.
All right. Well,
what do you think of my boner?
Yeah.
If you haven't put it together
Spoilers.
yet, I'm sure you clicked on this and the title's in it. I don't know why it's ever a secret. But yeah, we did not watch a horror movie for October. We watched Megalopolis. Excuse me. Its Christian name. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, a fable.
Yes.
And I ran a stream cam during the thing, so we're going to actually watch it live tonight.
Oh wow, thank you.
What?
Yeah.
No, we went to the theater yesterday and today.
Yeah, and I cam streamed it so that we can all sit here and watch it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have clips of us in the theater.
Yeah.
That would be horrible.
Let's cut to that right now. Let's see. Oh, great. Yeah.
It's not as good the second time.
Anyway, Megalopolis.
I only wish you had that footage because like 3 people in front of us definitely walked out, but they made sure to grab their snacks and their drinks. They're like, no, we paid too much for this shit. We're taking this home. And that was the most important part for their movie experience.
I was tempted to get a refund, but mainly because the sound kept dipping out.
The sound did dip out like
really?
10 times or so in our screening.
Like completely or
the guy behind us
like
kept
2 seconds.
losing his shit every time the sound would go out.
He would do what?
He was losing his shit. Like he just started fucking cackling every time the sound would go out.
Yeah.
oh, laughing.
Yeah, that was a little
sucks.
distracting, but it wasn't that bad. I was going to bring up just the theater experience was a little strange with there were a group of 3 people that walked out, and then I swear there was a couple that walked out, and then there was a couple of people who walked out but then came back. So I guess they just went to the bathroom, or maybe they just contemplated leaving and then returned. But it was an interesting experience. I don't think I've ever sat through anything where 5 people at least walked out.
Which theater did you go to?
We were at the Marquee as well.
The Marquee. Yeah, that's the one that I went to tonight, and also had a weird experience where I walked in and to the theater, not the screen, but like the theater, and the fire alarm was going off and no one cared. So I just walked up to the ticket taker. They scanned my ticket. I walked in. It was the VIP.
Turn that off before the movie starts.
Well, it wasn't sounding. It was just all the lights were flashing.
That's smart of them. Make sure there's no sound in the.
Yeah, you don't want
fire
people
alarm.
to know. You don't want people to
I
know.
want to just disturb their movie.
You can't scream fire in a movie.
Exactly.
Theater, right? It's illegal.
Yeah.
You can't even have fire alarms.
Even we can't do it.
Yeah.
Even if there is a fire.
Yeah.
You go to prison afterwards.
You only know when the title card comes up that says, "Oh no, a fire," and then right back to the silent film.
But then, like, so I sat down, and I was saying before the show, like, I went to the VIP experience, which is really a waste of money. But it has free popcorn. So I had my popcorn, and then during the trailers, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back and get more popcorn. So I went back, and in the 30 seconds that I left and came back, another couple sat next to me and were just completely making out, like, immediately during the trailers.
Nice.
During this movie?
Literally the
Yes.
seat next to you.
Wow.
It was 2 seats over from me. Like, I almost took a picture, but they were like tongues down each other's throat. Like, he was feeling her up and everything, which is weird because those seats, the armrests don't come up anymore.
That's what I was going to get to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That particular
It's a
that
horny
VIP
movie.
theater I have been in, and it seems non-conducive to a make-out fucking or anything you're going to do
just
with it.
real horny, I
He
guess.
had the right idea. Like, let's get VIP tickets on Wednesday. Nobody's going to be in there. And then also, let's go see Megalopolis.
Yeah,
I'm gonna treat my baby right.
Was it what was the age demographic? Would you say of these people?
Way older than you would expect. They were
No,
like probably in their 30s.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was almost going to say, was it an old man and a younger woman, and he brought her there to
Flicker Bane.
to relive his 16-year-old days or something, his high school days, feeling up a chick.
He was
With the wind.
John Voight to his
Aubrey Plaza.
it's,
I have a lot to say about John Voight.
Okay, so Megalopolis, briefly in a nutshell, is a real big swing from Francis Ford Coppola.
Real big
About-
swinging dick.
A genius artist, architect guy who just really wants to make New Rome a better place because it's a shithole. And he's got some magic powers and some magic substances, and he's a real cool guy. And I don't know. I guess that's it in a nutshell.
Imagine New Rome as basically Sin City with color.
Sin City with color, sure.
Not Sin City. I'd say the Spirit with color.
What did this movie remind you of, like on a surface level initially? Does anything come to mind? Because a couple of things.
It weirdly did remind me of Sin City, but I think it was because everything felt very like, it was all very small set pieces. Every scene was its own little bitty set piece, and everything definitely felt like it was on a CGI stage. And I don't know, something about it just felt very like isolating.
Yeah. It felt like a Neil Breen movie. Like it really did. It felt like a student film with green screen.
Mm-hmm. Especially that part where he has that big bandage on his face. That was very
Jesus.
Joey faithful.
It was a direct reference almost to Neil Breen. I was like, has he seen a Neil Breen movie? I feel like he's just kind of doing it now.
Also, the thing about it, when they talk more about his dead wife and then she has twins in her belly, I was like, is this fucking Twisted Pair? Like, what's going on here?
Also, there's a lot of direct references to get into that later. Feels like. And when I about maybe like halfway through, I was thinking this does feel like some weirder 70s fare. Where, you know, you would do a weird future world thing like
Metropolis?
Logan's Run or something along those lines. But then, with all the green screen stuff, I was even thinking like oddly like the prequels in a weird way.
Yeah.
There was weird camera work like that felt like you were saying, like 70, like old camera work that didn't feel like it worked with the CGI. And
there's style just
it would take me out, and
jumping.
it was just fucking weird.
Yeah.
There's like he's doing the vignettes on people, which is like from the teens, basically when film was around first, and then he's doing like George Méliès stuff occasionally, and like weird very stagey stuff. But then it cuts, and then you're doing George Lucas prequels, like with him talking on a building and all that weird stuff that feels very, dated.
It's lit like the prequels too. Like it's all lit very flat and very boring.
People look terrible in this.
Yes.
And it's not just the way he's shooting it, but that is kind of bad. But it's also like some people I haven't seen in a minute, and I'm like, damn, they look like hell. And not just John Voight and Dustin Hoffman, who look very old suddenly, and I'm like, oh boy, they're about
the second biggest laugh in the theater that I got.
But even like Jason Schwartzman, I was like, he was like just eating spaghetti before this.
He's like 30 pounds heavier.
He looked like that in Asteroid City, but he had a big beard. That hit it. It looked good in Asteroid City with a beard, but
maybe
it fit his character.
Maybe
he's like it
was weird. Like the parade scene was very flat, like you said, prequels. It just felt like he took. I mean, everything was supposed to be so majestic and so pristine and inventive, and then you go down to the street level, and it just looks like normal.
It looked like Sin City, but with like, I'm going to do some artistic Roman statues of like Justice being tired and like falling into a wall.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was kind of cool, but also weird.
That sequence.
The first one was cool.
Yeah.
And then the other two we didn't really need.
I don't really understand that one.
I feel like he's pranking us.
Yeah.
I think this is just the last gasps of a dying brain. It's just like throwing everything that it had in its entire life onto the screen.
Yeah, because I can't imagine him watching this and being like, "That's it. That's what I want." Okay, print. Like I just every scene is more like convoluted, like especially at the end. But I think part of it also feels weird because the technology, like at one point she's talking into this ring that she can record and has this like aura. But then you see like a Dodge
ring.
Then you see like a Dodge Challenger or a Charger on the side, and you're like, all right, so where are we? Are we in this present day, or is it
John Voight's television is a Samsung? You're like, okay, so
that kept taking me out every time I saw it. I kept going, Samsung.
And driving Escalades. I'm like, what is this world?
It's basically New York, but kind of like fashioned to look like Rome. Sure.
But what if there were magic escalators, or conveyor belts, like
before we get too much further.
Yeah.
For anyone who absolutely is not going to see this, do we want to get this plot done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plot is a strong, but yeah, go for it.
So, meet Caesar, a very smart and special and intensely wealthy boy from an alternative dimension world where we call New York New Rome, and Italians control even more of it. Our special boy not only has invented a physics-defying new material to build cool stuff called Megalon, but he's also invented stopping time. He's keeping that one a secret, though, just to impress chicks. One of which also happens to be his arch nemesis's daughter.
His arch nemesis is, of course, the government, aka Mayor Cicero, who wants nothing more than to prevent Caesar from making the city better by giving it magical Megalon sidewalks. The mayor prefers casinos. Anyway, we find out Caesar has a very powerful pro-incest family, and also he likes to party and loves little hot dogs and likes to quote Shakespeare and fuck Taylor Swift. But most of all, he misses his dead wife. So much so that his mistress, Aubrey Plaza, stops fucking his sad ass and decides to fuck his great uncle, John Voight, who is the president of the bank instead.
Despite the mayor's best efforts, he fails to prevent Caesar from blowing raw loads into his daughter. And they are quickly pregnant. And then Caesar rebuilds parts of New Rome with his Megalon stuff after the satellite fell out of the sky, killing thousands. It's like a crazy scene.
What an expensive scene that was.
Great Aunt Aubrey Plaza and her grandnephew-in-law Shia LaBeouf start fucking and hatch a plan to stir up the plebeian hordes while stealing the bank money away from the president of the bank. In all the corruption, Shia's henchman has Caesar killed via a 12-year-old boy, just to keep things interesting.
But the mayor's pregnant daughter uses the magic Megalon stuff to regrow Caesar's exploded head. She has their baby at some point, and Mayor Daddy starts to get cool with Caesar after Shia LaBeouf's political shenanigans annoy him, and they now have a common enemy: poor voters who take a liking to Shia LaBeouf's populist politics. Meanwhile, Shia LaBeouf and Aunt Aubrey's whole plan is foiled when president of the bank John Voight catches on to their bullshit and shoots them with a boner bow and arrow. With his head mostly healed and his new family looking ahead to the future, Caesar then makes a speech about how the world can be better if extremely wealthy, powerful people would stop being so selfish and just give poor people magical sidewalks. Which he does, after John Voight decides to give all of the bank money to him instead of Aubrey Plaza, who is dead. The end.
And congratulations, now you don't have to watch the movie. Because if you're confused, so are we.
I will be known as Cassius the fucking... What was
the giver? What was
the
it?
Giver? The philanthropic or something?
Yeah.
The
I will
Giving?
be known forever.
Cassius the Giving? I don't know.
I don't even know if it was
statue.
Cassius.
Yeah, it's
Crassus.
like Crassus.
Was this
Crassus.
the president of the bank?
Catharsis. Yeah,
it is so similar to Neil Breen stuff, just on like a higher level.
Yes.
Like a smarter person, yes, put this together with a lot more money.
Yes.
With a much better actors doing similar stuff. Adam Driver is the stand-in for Coppola. Coppola should have been in this movie just to give us.
Yeah.
It would have been so much more interesting, I think.
Maybe Nick Cage Nick Cage is Adam Driver.
He is the one Coppola that feels like is left out. I don't know their whole family like by heart or anything, but feels like they got everybody in. Like Talia Shire, isn't she married to him or somebody?
I don't know. That whole Francis bit was weird.
We were joking that maybe it was Nick Cage doing Elvis, but then you were saying it was a guy with a Japanese accent, right?
Yeah, because at the end he goes arigato.
Yeah.
Sure, that would have been good if they just put Nick Cage in that role because we know he was Elvis, and I bet they tried.
I invented Megalon. I know what I have to do.
Megalon. We have to put it everywhere. Yeah, magical sidewalks seem to be huge.
And Jurassic World orbs were in.
Yeah, Jurassic World orbs.
I forgot the Jurassic World orbs as well.
Yeah.
God.
As expensive as this movie was, it didn't feel expensive at all. And I get it that like Marvel movies are like $250 million, so 120 is not as much, but god damn. Like the satellite falls and it's just like a little smoke and it's like, oh yeah, that was really bad. Let's move
Marvel
on.
movies also look like shit nowadays, so I don't know.
I think the money went to him paying all of his friends to read this script.
Yeah.
Like everybody is in this fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel very family oriented, and part of me appreciates that in a weird way, or appreciated it a lot. And even sort of the tone of it feels very like sitting around with the family because it's so goofy sometimes. Like there's nothing natural about any of the performances. Everything's just very over the top. And I don't know.
Honestly,
Schwartzman is like the epitome.
He has
of that,
4 lines
kind of comes in and says goofy.
They're all very
things.
weird. Yeah.
I wrote down, this is the gayest I've ever seen Jason Schwartzman.
When he starts playing drums, we all laughed really loud.
Yes.
That was the thing about our screening is I feel like we started laughing pretty early.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, everybody was kind of laughing when something ridiculous would happen with us. So that was good. I feel like we won people over
everyone
in
else
a weird way.
Trying to take it seriously initially, and it's just like you can't.
The back row was like all these 20-somethings like on their phone, and they were talking not the whole time, like not the whole time as in like in between things, like literally the whole time they were just talking to each other. So I think they thought this was, it's like, oh, let's go to the movies and pretend like we're watching HBO Max at home, because they just were talking for like the first 30 minutes, and then I think we won them over. But
there was that couple that was in front of us to the left, and they were just talking to each other at full volume like this, just talking back and forth like this to each other. And just
For a
like,
little
are
while,
you fucking kidding me?
That's part of the movie.
Yeah.
It was part of the experience.
What can anybody explain what was going on with the satellite?
No, they didn't talk about the satellite until somebody was like, oh yeah, that satellite we talked about before is falling.
Yeah.
That big plot point we never mentioned.
Yeah, they show it at the beginning and it's like clearly in disrepair. Yeah, it was a Soviet
satellite. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Soviet satellite.
But they never indicated that it was falling. It just felt like they were showing things. They were setting up the world and showing like global things as the monologue was happening.
I think it's just supposed to represent a failure of this government, but somehow it's the mayor's fault. And like, he would not be responsible.
But it wasn't this government. It was the Soviet satellite.
I know, but they cut to, and they're like, someone calls Cicero, the mayor, right? And there's like, he's like, well, we have things to stop this, right? And they're like, no. And he's like, oh, or something like that happens. It happened so fast, and then the half the city is exploded, and I guess it's like 9/11-ish or something. But then we just moved past it. It's like
that's kind of the theme of this whole movie is like everything just continues to get glossed over. It's like we just keep moving past and on to the next thing, and everything always just works out in a way that's just like, okay, next thing.
A lot of me afterwards was just like, or during even, was just like, this probably should have been a big book that he wrote.
Yes.
And he tried to make it into a 2-hour movie. It's like, no, I mean, you should have just went and made it a 4-hour movie or something, because it doesn't feel, I mean, it starts to feel goofy with how fast it moves along with some stuff.
And also, why did it need to be a movie? Like, it could have easily been a play. Like, even the sets, like when they were on the beams, like that's very much like a Metropolitan kind of, or they could have set that up at the Met, and then like the clock, and all of that's very much like a set piece in a play, and I think that worked way better.
There's that scene. Before, there's that scene when what's her name, Julia, first goes to his office, and there's like the two people sitting outside of his office just autographing photos. I don't know, but the whole thing it's like a very empty set, and I was like, this feels like a set from like the producers or something, like they're about to go into song and dance or something, because it's so sparse.
They were in unison, just doing the headshots were in unison.
That was a funny thing to me as well. Whenever Julia is driving around with whoever, following Caesar as he's going to get flowers for his dead wife or whatever, and she's like, they're tailing him, and I'm like, there's no one else on the street.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely knows you're following him.
Right.
I was like, Lawrence Fishburne, are you dumb?
Also, this flower shop just like magically appears out of nowhere.
Oh, it's Megalon.
Right.
It's a Megalon flower shop or something.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't understand Megalon. Sometimes it makes you invisible. Sometimes it makes you hallucinate. Sometimes it makes you magical walkways. I don't know.
They reference that his wife's body mysteriously disappeared after they recovered it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they make it seem like he has her in this house that he's like preserving her, and turns out he's not. It's his imagination. And then they never reference what happened to the body.
But then she gets past security, so security is also his imagination,
right?
No, I didn't get that.
Or
part.
Is he preserving her, but in an alternate dimension that nobody else can see?
I think it's that, because he's able to control time a little bit. But they do. Her body does surface again because it's in the morgue. And that was the whole thing.
Morgan is pregnant in the morgue.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito, right? He's like, leave my daughter, please let her go. And in exchange, I'll give you my testimony that I know that you didn't kill your wife because we found her drowned.
That's a plot point we didn't really cover, is that he's people don't like him because they think he killed his wife, but he got acquitted. But I guess the DA at the time was Mayor Cicero, and went after him very viciously for reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, they never really say why. Like he knew that he was innocent the whole time, but he still went after him.
Didn't like him because he was from this family or whatever. I think this family is just frowned upon by
They basically run the city.
Right.
But he's like the nephew of this family. He's not even
right.
It's very weird.
But he's apparently the most powerful person in the city. Right? Like he gets to approve or deny anything that ever gets built in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he's the head of the design committee or whatever the fuck.
But he's not voted in, so he can never lose his job.
Yeah, when it started and she goes and sees him and he's like stopping time and stuff, I thought we were going to have like a really interesting movie.
So did I.
Like it seemed like sort of Inception-y or something. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
I was getting like Synecdoche, New York vibes a little bit. I was like, okay.
I was like, oh, this might be really interesting, actually. And we made a mistake watching this for trash, but then it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just
the time stopping there's no point.
Yeah, I wrote down something about the times. Something about when he's like on those beams talking to her and he's like really upset. He's like, I forgot how to do it. And I was like,
you do it. And
he was like, you can do it though. And I was like, does the time stopping represent like coming or getting old, or what the fuck is the time stopping a metaphor for?
Matrix Resurrections, maybe?
I think it's inspiration. I think that's all it is. Because she goes through this whole thing about, you told me that artists can stop time, like painters stop time by painting the thing. Artists or musicians do it with rhythm and yada, yada, yada. And he's like
she says rhythmatizing.
He does it by building things that will never falter.
Yeah, he's an architect of some sort. And so he lost his inspiration, I guess, when he got the fuck kicked out of him at the fucking rave or whatever, and then finds it again when he realizes he loves Julia.
I forgot he got beat up at the rave. Yeah.
Oh, he got the shit kicked out of him.
I leaned over to JD, and when they were like putting him in the car and stuff, I was like, I hope they make him drive.
Yeah. They did look like they were loading him into the driver's seat.
Just take a toot of Megalon, and you got this, man. None of us could drive. We've all been drinking.
Adam Driver.
Doesn't drive in this movie. Has a driver himself.
Has he ever driven?
Odd choice.
Have you ever seen him drive it?
Did he drive in Ferrari?
Do you call it driving a TIE fighter? He flies a TIE fighter?
Ferrari.
I think he knows how to drive. He just doesn't know if he can do it.
He doesn't know if he has the strength to do it.
I could not stop thinking about that.
Megalon.
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
I've a lot of it, but I don't know how to use it anymore. Maybe you can.
My body only produces so much of it.
Baby.
I don't know if I can push more out.
I also kept thinking he was going to say, like, I've been researching the most secret government secrets. Like every time he started talking, I was like, come on, Breen, come on.
So speaking of speaking, nobody had a lock on whatever their accent was for this movie.
Oh God, no. Shia LaBeouf was in a different movie, number one.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf was doing his own thing.
I loved what he was doing.
I think he nailed it in a weird way. It's like he got what the assignment was of like, I don't know, just being crazy pants. And
if everybody was like him, it would have been like a Dr. Seuss movie. It would have been like a really weird.
Yeah, that's what it felt like sometimes.
I wish it was like that.
John Voight nailed it too.
Oh yeah, John Voight is great in this. Oddly,
how do you like this boner I got going on here?
like when Shia and him are in that scene together, or they're in a few scenes together, but when they walks in, he's like, "Ooh, tra la la," with the fucking Robin Hood hat.
Yeah,
yeah, boys, just riff.
Yeah, it's like that's what it is. It's like the writing isn't good enough for how crazy he was.
The writing is
to be.
Terrible.
Like, because he goes like, when I heard you got shot.
Have you heard about string theory? It's this crazy thing. And then move on.
Yeah.
There's 11 dimensions and there's strings and they're all going, woo.
And then there's random times they cut to like Dustin Hoffman and when they're watching the acrobats and he's like, look at that. And then they cut and that's it.
That's my favorite. We'll get into that. I want to talk about... Yeah,
Dustin Hoffman does not know what he's doing in this movie.
I don't think
Francis Ford Coppola does not know what to do with him.
Like
he stumbled onto the set, and they were like, "I don't know, give him a costume, give him something," and then he just kind of hobbles around, and then he stopped showing up, and then they're like, we have to kill him somehow.
Yeah, somebody was like,
"Can you come by for like an hour?"
Yeah, we're gonna have to shoot the death scene.
Showing up. Is this real? Because we had the same revelation that you did when we saw that. Like, afterwards, we were like, he probably just stopped showing up.
Maybe he got sick. I don't even know if that was him in that shot of him.
I don't know.
Okay, does anyone recall why they cut? Like, they had some explanation that it cuts to a bunch of shit falling on him and him dying. Does anyone know?
I don't remember
what they were talking about or why that happened.
No, because we weren't ready for that. We weren't ready.
There's no prep. It's just
there's no.
Shia LaBeouf is giving his stump speech on a Nazi stump.
Literally on a Nazi stump.
Yeah. He climbs on it. Yeah.
I don't know why, but
and I can't stress enough how these are like Roman columns that are falling, CGI placed in front of Dustin Hoffman as he's just like,
he's like, look at that.
Yes. Look at that. We laughed
I do love the whole Aubrey Plaza is great in this movie. She's also like, I think Shia and her and John Voight are really hamming it up in like a fantastic way. But I love her and John Voight's wedding. I like that it's just a big sports arena show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's doing a really great
with the Taylor Swift halftime performance.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
What the fuck was that?
And then she just disappeared the rest
The
of the
sale
movie.
of her virginity.
This thing of like she's, I guess, 16. I don't remember that being said
Well, that
until
was a
suddenly.
lie.
Well, yeah, but that was like a whole thing. It was like this person is like a virgin.
She's like the city debutante ball.
Yeah. So what I understand,
were they selling her virginity, or were they just?
They were buying the rights to marry her, which would then give them her virginity.
Which started at $100,000, which I feel like is a little low.
Well, what did it end at? $100 million?
I mean, not that it should be a thing that you put a price on, but it was just, I was like, that's for this crowd. That's interesting that it was 100,000.
I guess there's some reference to Roman Catholicism where there were virgin priestesses, very young children that would do this, and this was somehow a reference to it. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff like that or this movie feels like a ton of references to things that I don't know anything about.
Well, yeah, because she also was like, you can see right through me. Because it's, like it was like a real.
That was like an obvious to just like shitting on Taylor Swift kind of fun thing. I thought.
Or ukulele.
And then as she's saying it, it says it on the dress.
Yeah,
so you can see right through me.
But let's talk about that acrobatic team that came in and kind of
look at that.
That was probably the best part of the movie, like the genuinely best part of the movie. That Asian troupe that was doing like all the flips and shit, like that was.
Yeah, but it was shot so poorly.
I didn't even notice it, really. I just thought it was funny that they were like these two old men and John Voight and Dustin Hoffman were just like, they both had lines that said, look at that.
Yeah.
I feel like this was like, they filmed the whole thing on a CG, on a green screen, but Coppola had never shot on a green screen before and was just like, we'll just figure it out. We'll just make sure that everyone's lit up. So that
it's modern.
And then we'll figure it out later.
It's like we did the Méliès reference. Now we're gonna do like a Marvel movie. We're gonna have a lot of different kind of movies in this.
My granddaughter watched Across the Spider-Verse, so we're gonna do some art painting stuff.
Dustin Hoffman shot all of his things by himself without anyone else around. Just in a closet at his house.
Concrete, and steel.
Oh yes, God, that was like, all right, death scene. Okay, I can do this. All right, cool.
Yeah. I forgot that he does. He likes casinos. That's like a very brief thing, but I thought that could have been explored a little bit more. Cicero was like, we should build casinos and have the taxes, blah 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 blah, and I was like, okay. Anyway, what else? Before we get into favorite parts here, we could get into them now if you want. I don't know if anybody want to discuss much else. There's tons to keep discussing. It could go on forever with this thing, which is kind of the beauty of it.
I do want to talk about Aubrey Plaza, like fucking Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
fucking him nasty.
Oh yeah,
I did really support the shadow ass eating, silhouette ass eating. I guess I wish Adam had been with us, so I could have leaned over to him and be like, "That's you." I appreciate that she was willing to put her nearly 40-year-old ass on the screen and do all that. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and like have him force him to eat her pussy. And like,
sit on his bush,
anti-wow.
That was his,
anti-wow.
Yes,
great anti-wow.
Yes, anti-wow. There's a real. She dummies him real good. And gets him and cuts his hair. It's like a biblical reference to
Samson.
Samson,
But then the next scene is way on the nose in the sauna, and Crassus is like straight up in a fucking toga, but it's not a toga because it's a towel. And then it's very like Caesar being betrayed and like, oh God.
And he has like a stroke or something, and he's like just.
I thought
then he was like faking it the whole time. Yeah. Like it turns out that he wasn't really like handicapped. I don't understand. Like the whole last like bit with him was like, oh, gotcha. I'm not really fucked up.
Yeah, I have my tiny bow and arrow.
Well, that was the.
Was it a crossbow? It was a bow and arrow.
No, it was a bow and arrow because he was like.
He had to
Because
he's Robin Hood.
old in it. It's great.
Yeah.
Because he's Robin Hood, so he has the bow and arrow.
That was what he was thinking about in the sauna. He's like, I'm going to do this as a boner trick.
It's
and
maybe,
then he, yeah.
It's maybe not our most famous, the Coppola family, Italian family. Maybe it is. But I do like that they just did this big, gigantic, dumb Italian Roman thing about the future and the past and, Neil Breening up. Mm-hmm. Sort of oddly beautiful to me. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Talia Shire a little bit as well, who plays Caesar's mom.
Oh, she's great.
Fucking hates him.
It's and she seems to fucking hate him. I wrote down the first time we see her, Caesar sits down next to her and she's like, we should have been more like alligators. And he's like, what do you mean, Mom? And she's like, they eat their young. You shouldn't be alive, basically. And he's like, okay. And then later,
and then she's like, I should have had a girl.
That story is like, it's like, I went to I had a stomach ache once. I went to the hospital. I felt very bad. And then I had you.
Yeah.
And I wish you were a girl.
Shit. Yeah. I guess I did in a way.
Did they ever reference his dad?
She referenced him in that scene, but I don't know anything else about him. Okay. She was just like, what did she say? She was like, you've done a lot with your intelligence or something. And then she leans in. She's like, unlike your father. And it was like a weird dagger, but we don't know anything about his dad. So we're like, okay.
Her part in this movie reminded me a lot of Beau is Afraid. Like a lot of this felt, because he's really trying to tell you something personal, and I feel like Coppola is really trying to tell you something he thinks is brilliant, and it had that same kind of like vibe to me. I don't know if any of y'all have seen that movie.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
There's a lot of mommy stuff in that.
So it's like he thinks what he's saying is profound, but it's just falling very flat.
Well, he doesn't quite explain it the way that is clear. I don't know. In my opinion, like some people are like, but you don't get it. You don't get what it means at the end. And I'm like, no, I really don't. But it's very personal. You can tell it's very personal to him, something about his mother. And there's a lot of dialogue like that, like almost fantastical dialogue that nobody would really say to one another. But yeah, those were fun. Those were laugh out loud moments as well. And I've got another one coming up, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a very strange movie. There's a lot to unpack. And like we were saying, I think it should have been like a very long book, and it would have been pretty interesting read, maybe. And then someone else could have made it into a movie like 20 years from now.
Yeah.
I hope he does this as a play, honestly. I think I could see this being successful.
Has he ever directed a play? I don't know if that's his thing. I don't know if he likes plays.
He likes writing them.
Yeah, I mean, he just lifts Shakespeare for a whole scene, it seems like.
Yeah.
Multiple
early
scenes.
on.
Yeah. He quotes Shakespeare a lot in this movie.
Well, there's that one at the beginning where they're looking at a tiny model or something of a city.
He just does that whole scene from Hamlet.
The whole fucking Hamlet scene. And it's like, okay.
Must be interesting as Adam Driver to do Hamlet, but you're doing somebody else doing Hamlet, you know? You're like, this is the thing that everybody kind of does, but I have to do it as this other guy who's kind of a weird, eccentric.
Kind of rattling it off as if like, you guys all know Hamlet, but I'm going to say it verbatim just in case somebody doesn't know.
Yeah, he's kind of a stick in the mud. He's like, when the chick initially comes in to talk to him because she's interested in something about him. I don't know. He's just like, you're a party girl. I don't want to talk to you because you don't know math and science and stuff.
Go back to the club.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to learn.
And you think 1 year of medical school entitles you to plow through the riches of my Emersonian mind?
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
You have no idea about me. You think I am nothing? Just a socialite?
No, not nothing, but I reserve my time for people who can think about science and literature and architecture and art. You find me cruel, selfish, and unfeeling? I am. I work without caring what happens to either of us. So go back to the club, bear it all, and stalk the kind of people that you enjoy.
Fine. I will.
He has some funny lines where he's like, it feels a little off kilter or out of tone. And then it's like, okay, that's the tone. It's just we're going to break tone constantly.
Yeah.
I liked I mentioned it in the plot, but like when he talks about when he's rambling, when he's all fucked up and doing coke or whatever, and he's talking about the Nobel Prize should have gone to the person who made little tiny hot dogs. And I was like, is he talking about kolaches?
Yeah, he says, I like the little hot dogs with the pastries wrapped around them. I can't remember what they're called. Pigs in a blanket. That's right. Yeah. It's just like going through this stream of
won an award, a Pulitzer, or Nobel.
Yeah. God, that whole scene in the office, like you were talking about, when the writing is just on full display there, and it is bad. Where she's like, "Oh, the Nobel Prize," and then she picks up his medicine and she goes, expired. Nobel Prizes don't expire. I'm talking about your medicine. Like,
yeah. Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't see you. Good doggy. Yeah. I'll take a dozen roses, please.
Yeah. I mean, I know this guy directed The Conversation, Godfather, Apocalypse Now, probably the Batman, or not Batman, Dracula, Bram Stoker's. Did he write all those? Did he write? He wrote this one, right? I don't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wrote
I think he's the only person that wrote this one.
I will say, on Letterboxd right now, this is his 6th most popular movie. When you put it on popularity, it's above The Conversation.
Oh, wow.
But I guess, I mean, that has something to do with it. I don't know how their algorithm works, but a lot of people have reviewed it.
I think people want to be contrarian. It's like, this is actually brilliant if you think about it. Like, I feel like there's enough of those people that, like, are maybe...
Should we start watching all of his movies that have bombed? I'm curious if like the bad ones are really bad.
Next week on Trash Movie Kings, we're watching Robin Williams' Jack.
I like Jack.
Why is everybody always falling on me?
This had a budget of 120 million, as most of us know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or one vineyard, however you want to open it.
Yeah.
Sold off a vineyard.
It's so this is probably the last weekend it's in theaters. Its worldwide gross is 10 million.
That's above 8, which is the last number I saw.
That is
getting into those 5 digits, baby.
Bad. Very bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was saying before, it sort of reminds me of like 70s big swing kind of weirdo cinema that people used to get stoned and go watch because there wasn't TikTok or whatever, what people watch now, cat videos. So I get why some people are like, this is genius because it's just so out there and sincere in a weird way sometimes.
I feel like this is going to color all of his other stuff for me now. Like I'm going to go back and watch stuff, and I'm going to like. I'm
not going to find it because this one's unique. I mean, it's different. I don't know. I've watched probably the movie I've seen the most of is the Dracula movie, and I don't know. This was totally different.
Did he do the one with Gary Oldman in it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I did watch that one recently. It's good.
We watched it.
Didn't we watch it at your last?
Yeah, I think it was last.
Oh yeah, that's when. Okay,
recently, a year ago.
Mm-hmm. That one reference, the Aubrey Plaza and her head is like on a
spinning in the.
Isn't that from Metropolis? I think that's a direct reference to something, if not that.
Oh yeah, I mean, this movie seems like it's full of references of things I don't understand because this is an 80-year-old man who knows a lot of stuff, but can't figure out how to make this a
Yeah, like the moon
compelling film.
When the hand grabs the moon out of the clouds, I was like, that's really cool, but it really doesn't feel like it means anything.
It was just his nightmare, and it was just so, and then they moved on.
Somebody grabbed the moon and now I can't have shiny stuff in
there was
let's get into favorite parts, I think, because I think that was one thing I was going to reference was just how weird like that scene is. Like, oh, that's cool looking, like the hand in the cloud. And then what's his name, Cicero, I forget that actor's name, gets up and just explains, I had a dream where a hand from a cloud grabbed the moon. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen someone like a visual like that, and then someone wake up and then explain to someone like directly what we just saw. And I I was like,
so literally,
is this dumb or is it genius? I don't know.
He should have just said, look at that.
That scene, that was our first glimpse at his wife also.
No.
Had we seen her already?
Yeah.
I thought that was the first time we saw her, and she was all wrapped up and she sounded like an old man.
Well, that actress just sounds like that.
She sounds like that.
I know, but she was all bundled up, and she just like, I couldn't tell if it was an old man or not in that scene.
She was toned down compared to what I remember her in Poor Things. Yeah. I don't know what else she's in, but I remember her from Poor Things. Yeah.
Weirdly, she was in Andor, that Star Wars show.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Okay.
Yeah. A small part, but she's very good in it. She's a great actor.
Yeah, she's interesting. She's very striking voice, striking body, like physical
features and
Giancarlo Esposito is
that's it. Yeah,
the guy. Yeah, let's see favorite parts since you saw it most recently, Adam. What do you got?
It's hard to say favorite part, but probably the one that like will maybe haunt me the most because I'm just going to think about it all the time because it makes no fucking sense is JD, earlier you mentioned the street parade, and there's this weird like 4-piece marching band and they're walking down the street and there's a close up of the sousaphone player and he like takes off his hat, looks in it, and then spits this vile stuff out of his mouth that looks like he's getting sick.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, is this like we've been hearing that the megalon is maybe poisonous? Is this leading into that? Nothing comes of that. Then they finish playing and they're just leaning on the side of a building and the leader of the band is like reading the newspaper aloud to the rest of the band. And then Shia LaBeouf pulls up and the sousaphone player goes over to talk to Shia LaBeouf and the two women that are with him. He gets in the Escalade and then the director goes, which way did Huey go? And they go, to the left. And he goes, then we should go to the right. And that's the last you see of these guys.
Like, why do they not like him so much?
I forgot about the sousaphone player spitting or whatever. That was really gross.
The whole thing was weird. It's like, why are we spending time with these people? They felt like
he was trying to show that this guy was tired of his place and wanted to climb up and be in it. Like, you want to be part of something powerful or something. So that was the visual way that they did it. And it was just weird. Like he was disgusted by it or something. I don't know.
And maybe that guy showed back up later and I just didn't.
Yeah, he was the guy. Him. He was Shia LaBeouf's bodyguard, the one who shot.
Oh, with
that's him.
The forehead tattoo.
Yeah, he slowly turned into that guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that completely.
I totally missed
from
that.
Daredevil. Yeah.
And then my other favorite part.
Pick up my hat. Pick up my hat.
My other favorite part was when James Remar showed up for 30 seconds.
Was he the one singing?
No, he's just in an alley.
And shit.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, this is your wife. And then Adam Driver walks away. And you never see him again.
Dead wife, magic rocks.
Yeah.
We got it all the Breens. JD, what do you got?
Oh man, I mean Dustin Hoffman's death is going to be my favorite, but I identify with how Adam feels. Is hard to say a favorite part. So I think one of the coolest parts, like genuinely the coolest parts, is some of the artwork that they do. Like when they show the twins in the womb, and then it turns into these people who have body paint, and there's a light hitting them in a certain way, so they morph into more like that. That visual storytelling was really cool, and some of like the artwork that they did, like a flip book of toward the end, was honestly cool. I don't think any of the like megalon, whatever it's called, the like the futuristic staircases or conveyor belts were very good. But I think the part I laughed out loud, and I clapped my hands twice, which I feel kind of inappropriate about. But like when Caesar dies, it's just so fucking weird. And he's talking to this 12-year-old who wants his book signed. And he's like, "Oh, your name is Sam? How old are you, Sam?" "I'm 12. Like, "Oh, I was 12 once, so I bet you can't believe that." And then just, I'm like, Sam just shoots him point blank in the face. And I was like, holy, I was just sitting there during that whole scene thinking, like, is this kid about to like murder the main character, or is somebody going to intervene? But no, he just fucking kills him.
That gunshot was the most effective scene in that whole movie. It was jarring, and it was
genuinely
well done.
Startling. Like I was a little like, I like
I felt like I knew it was coming, but it somehow still startled me when it happened.
Yeah, I had I was just I didn't think that movie had that kind of thing in it, but I was so happy that it did.
Right. Yeah, same. So that was my favorite.
All right. Justin?
I've got a few, but they're very small bits. They're, as usual, they're the silly things.
I don't have to do any clips for this, so go nuts.
Yeah.
Finally, find anything. Taking the mantle with the small part.
John, it's during Taylor Swift's performance. John Voight us cutting back to John Voight, and he's just like hunched over, just just clapping, and then it's an above angle shot, and he's like,
"Oh, look at that!"
It's just like him being like this senile old man that has no idea where he's at. Yeah, it was so funny, and I was dying at it. The other one was Adam Driver's scene when he goes into the bank with the bandage on, and just his performance in that. And he's just like, no, my money, no.
I can't have my free wealth money anymore. What is going on?
And then the other. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just talking. I was going to say, I think Aubrey Plaza's goal in stealing the money from the president of the bank, John Voight, was to give it ultimately to Adam Driver because she loved him, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it worked.
But then he didn't love her, so she stole his money.
I don't know if she was going to give it to him or if she was going to like use it as bait to be like, come back to me and I will give you the money.
Yeah.
We can have the money together, but you have to be with me.
Right. It was going to be like a ploy.
Yeah.
But the other one was like, it bothered me more than anything, but like as it kept happening, I was just like, okay, this is silly and weird. Like he kept doing silhouettes of people on buildings and things happening, and they looked so bad. And like I felt like they were like too fast, and they didn't feel cinematic at all. They very much felt like a Breen movie. And like when the satellite fell, and that was his way of showing a bunch of people dying, was like the glowing fire on the building and people going like this, and it felt so fucking dumb.
Yeah, once again, looked like Rent. You know, it's
literally
like a play.
It literally was like somebody going like this. Yeah, it felt like a play, and it felt stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
big 70s. It kept happening. He did it like 2 or 3 more times, and it's just like, okay, this is funny.
Big 70s guy, art film, big swing, big weird movie that people look back on and be like, remember this weird ass movie? It's like it should have been, or you think you would find it on a list of like weird art films on Letterboxd that you've never heard of. That's where this will probably go.
because even before he gets killed, like the guy blocks him in. The guy blocks in Caesar, so the kid apparently can shoot him. And the guy doesn't speak English, so they're like, "Oh yeah, are you here illegally? Yeah, you can't speak English. Go." It's so much like on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's the message, get it? And like, I don't know if it was even strong enough to convey that. So I don't know.
But Caesar, like that was what's his name? Morgan Freeman.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne. Okay, yeah.
That was Lawrence Fishburne yelling at him, right? Which is weird because isn't Caesar supposed to be the idealist? So like he's supposed to be the.
It might have been a bodyguard though. I don't think it was him yelling at that guy.
I think it was Lawrence Fishburne because I think he got out of the car and was yelling at this guy because he was blocking in Caesar's car.
Yeah.
Like Caesar's supposed to be the idealist in this like rich, shitty, like racist, like asshole family.
Well, hang on. I thought. Wait, maybe I'm mixing up two scenes. But there's a scene where Shia LaBeouf is mad at his bodyguard for killing Caesar. No. I mean, yes, he is mad at him for that. But there's another scene earlier, like when Shia's first deciding to start campaigning, that the people are like mad about the housing stuff, and his bodyguard is like, they're fucking illegals or whatever, and he's like, no, they're immigrants and they vote and they care about voting and all this stuff, and I'm like, that does not feel like Shia's character.
But it is because he's using it the way Trump uses it.
Yeah,
he doesn't actually believe it. He's telling him that he's like, this is how we're getting. I'm walking to the front because this is what these people are, and I'm gonna. I hear that. Like he's pumping.
Is that when he has the bullhorn? Yeah, he just goes like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like out of nowhere, like just yells.
No, that was later.
That was later at a rally.
That was in the daytime.
Funny. That was during the Nazi stump speech.
There is an odd dichotomy of hating poor people and thinking they're stupid and shouldn't be included in conversation, and also Adam Driver's call to like, we need everyone to we need to have a conversation about the future and everyone needs to be included. It's very...
Everyone deserves to slide on the moving sidewalks.
As long as they're outside of the gates that we set up, then they're allowed to be here and listen to me.
Yeah. Anyway, my favorite part is Aubrey Plaza getting her ass eaten. So that's it.
That was very good. That's very good.
Even in the sheer dress in the beginning, that was
her naked is good. I liked her scene where she does the little elevator cage and she's like, I like the sound.
She had some weird ass lines.
Who was it that was in? Oh, it was what's her name?
Oh yeah, and then she's like, one, this is my shit. Two, this guy is mine. This guy is mine. This money's mine. Blah 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 blah. I liked her.
And every time she does it, it makes a little sound effect, like a shh.
Like she has like good metal nails on or something.
Yeah.
I feel like if this wasn't a Coppola movie, she might have been played by like Vanessa Kirby or something like that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I got that vibe from her. But
she was fun. She was just doing her Janet Snakehole character, and it worked really well. Like she's
Snakehole.
It's that character that she does on Parks and Rec when she gets drunk, and it's like she and Andy play around, and she's
it's like her rich debutante character or whatever.
Yeah. She's goofy as fuck. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she's fun. She's fun.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to say the bees thing? Do you have the trigger?
Oh God, how do I do that?
Just play the fact of the matter is, and we'll pretend.
It's time for
the bees.
Oh hell yeah!
Hey, we got a live bees. Wow,
did that work?
Nice.
Okay,
cool. It did. Congrats. JD, what do you got for this? It's always you now.
Well, we got boobs, we got butts, we got blondes. We have. Let me see, because we had a little chat about this.
I thought you were keeping notes, but apparently not.
We had dead wife tits.
Dead wife tits.
Oh yeah. We had Bush, Shia LaBeouf's Bush.
Shia LaBeouf.
We had a blast in slow motion, of course. Boys in Blue. We had bullets.
We had some blue lights in
blue
the
lights, red lights.
Oh yeah,
by lighting.
That the red and green kind of Bylighting was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a.
We have any
hound.
Buttafuoco's?
Nothing of note.
Yeah,
not that I can think of.
I said bold choices, but let's see.
We
there
had
was
a bow and arrow.
Oh yeah, bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow.
We had bowl cuts or at least bangs.
Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
They all had the Caesar haircut.
Adam Driver goes on a bender.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Do we have any blades?
Ooh, I counted maybe her finger. There was like little.
Yeah.
Butt eating.
Did someone get stabbed?
Butt eating.
Yeah.
I don't think there were any stabbings.
There was a bullet.
Yeah,
There was a bullet.
Yeah.
Was there
I think
blood?
there was some
Did we
sort of
actually show
Molotov
blood?
cocktail kind of thing.
Yeah, there was blood like spattered on the screen.
Yeah.
Shortly after that. And then there's that really melodramatic scene where he I don't remember what's happening, but it's like all these, it's like a kaleidoscope of visuals. And then there's a shot of him and he has his chest cut open and he's holding his heart. And he's like, here is my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I did forget to mention that tri-screen thing that he does, which I thought was the Palma-y or something.
Yeah,
he does
kind of
that a lot.
interesting. Yeah.
We had board games with the Scrabble tiles. We could mention that.
Okay, I wrote this down. She was playing Scrabble, and then the punchline of that scene was a crossword clue. Fuck you.
Yeah, and also
like,
was
what's
different.
a 7-letter word for God taking vengeance on humanity? Pandora. Bingo. We had a bingo.
There was boxes in his little cityscape of what the future will be like. It's just like boxes and tennis balls. I was like, Nolan would love this.
Yeah.
It looks like you can ride some like Hot Wheels down these sidewalks that he's playing.
Would you call that a Beetlejuice model, sort of?
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
I get what you're saying there.
We did have an egg.
Oh,
yeah. A hard-boiled egg at one point.
Oh, man.
An egg.
We had a big old clock.
A big old.
Oh, yeah,
A big
clock.
We had some beams. Those like a lot of beams.
Some I-beams.
Mini beams.
Even some scaffolding.
Steel
over
beams.
the
He's like, I'm
model.
over these steel beams. We need Megalon beams. I was shocked there was no pools in this. Seemed like very obvious.
Right?
To have a pool.
There are no boats.
There's no water in this movie except for the one time that she gets rained on in her hallucination.
Oh, and she's underwater or whatever.
Oh, she drowns. Yeah.
In the classic car underwater.
Had a baby. That baby. at the end.
Several babies.
Why did they put the baby on the ground at the end of the movie?
I don't know. That whole shot is so weird.
And then like a rug suddenly appears under it.
Yeah, a little square. Just a little square for the baby.
Square.
The baby square.
Everyone freezes but the baby.
Giancarlo
Setting up a
Esposito is
sequel?
holding his granddaughter, and then he's like, you can go on the ground.
Yeah.
The future is yours, Okay. There's going to be magic sidewalks, magic platforms, magic carpets. I swear to God, I thought the baby was going to fly away on the carpet.
I did too.
All right, magic carpets.
I did.
like the Roger Rabbit baby, and it just winks at the end, and then like
I mean, they do that at the end on the baby.
They do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They should have ended with a Roger Rabbit cartoon. That would have been better.
Yeah, they should have ended it with Mel Brooks going, get out! I'm still alive!
Oh, there was one. They had this is not a B, but I mentally wrote down Bram Stoker's Stonework, because it was almost exactly the same as the cover of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, every time there's a title, Lawrence Fishburne reading fucking everything for like the first hour of the movie, and then he stopped. And then it's like we abandoned that whole bit.
No one can be told how bad this movie is.
You have to see it by yourself. All right. Who wants to rate this thing first and get us started on what everyone thinks?
Are we rating it as trash, or are we rating this as What are we doing here?
As we've often said, it's whatever's in your heart.
Whatever's in your heart.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start. I left the theater feeling pretty good about it. And as we've talked about it more, I feel less good about it. However, I will probably remember this movie for the rest of my life, and that that says something. Like, I'm looking at what we've watched previously, right? Santa with Muscles. I couldn't tell you much about that one.
The lost episode.
The lost episode.
I could not tell you much about Santa with Muscles.
Coming soon. Or not. I don't know.
Oh, coming this holiday season.
We'll put it out this holiday season from last year.
I couldn't tell you much about the new Barbarians. You know, things like that, like Panther Squad, maybe, but not a ton.
Yeah.
But this one is going to stick with me. So I guess I'm going to give it a 4, but I'm also going to give it like 3 Breens.
Good morning.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
We're on the level here. Justin, what are you thinking? Think now.
I'm going 5.
Wow.
5 bags.
Oh, 5
bags. This is peak trash from Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
Francis fucking Ford Coppola
Yes.
gave us late life golden years peak trash. Who would have thought he had this in him?
No
He
one.
sold his vineyard to give us
for us.
this.
Yeah.
Red Olin Ray convinced him to sell his vineyard. And I'm giving it 5 brains because this is a Neil Breen movie through and through. This is like the heart of Neil is pumping inside Francis.
These files will prove to all of you, the political and corporate dishonesty that exists.
If it hadn't been in Tivas, it could have been 6.
Just Shia LaBeouf wearing Tevas. Yeah, that would work.
Oh my God, that could have worked.
Like Adam said, like I'm gonna think of. I've been thinking about this movie all fucking day.
Yeah.
It's just gonna crop up in my life.
Yep.
Forever.
Yep.
I'm gonna buy it on 4K.
Criterion collection if they dare.
If they have the balls.
I will say it is not a good movie.
Oh no, it's
but it
terrible.
is peak trash.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie, but it's something.
Yeah.
It's as wild as I felt watching Malignant. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, I love it.
I think I laughed as hard.
A lot.
Did you not?
I like Malignant as a movie, but the what the fuck moments in Malignant kind of match this in a weird way. Like that's the Venn diagram.
I can see that.
Sure. Real quick, Justin, you mentioned Fred Olin Ray, and I just hope that Florida man Fred Olin Ray is doing okay with Hurricane Milton because he posted about Waffle House today, and I'm thinking about him. So.
Yes, I was. I saw that, and then I was like, we were talking about Waffle House earlier. Is that the reason why you guys were talking about it? I wasn't.
I think it was.
I think so.
Just checking. All right, JD.
Man, you know what? Adam, what did you give it? 4 bags?
I gave it 4 and 3 Breens.
Okay, I think. Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I want to give it 5, but I'm going to give it 4 bags. All the bags are filled with audacity, and I will be giving it 5 Breens.
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide?
Hell yeah.
Because even in the edit, there's like a lot of what people are saying are not matching up with what we're hearing. Like it's like a sloppy edit also, which is insane. But yeah, I think that leaving the theater, I knew how many brains I was going to give it. I didn't know how many bags I was going to give it. So that's where I'm at.
All right.
Rest in peace, the Vineyard.
Joseph.
Money well spent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with my original thought of 4 bags.
You guys don't have the balls
to go 5. I kind of want to go 4.5, but I don't know. I think the expense is the problem for me. I know he sold his vineyard and everything for it. I think if this, I don't know, it looks pretty fucking cheap still.
Yeah, when the satellite crashes, there's like a little smoke, and it's like, well, that could have been on screen, but don't worry about it. Let's get back to
this movie abides by the most important rule of our podcast, as Apocalypse Hal is quite the stickler for.
Oh, he definitely
This movie is the biggest genuine, heartfelt swing.
Yeah.
This movie was done completely for just like
in earnest.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's fucking beautiful. It's beautifully awful.
Okay, sorry. I just remembered my favorite part.
Okay. Yeah, let's bring it back.
Is when you've watched 2 hours and 20 minutes of Megalopolis, and it ends with a pledge of allegiance that he has created to all of that stuff. And then you just sit there and you go, why did any of this happen? And then it fades to black. And then it says, for my loving wife, Eleanor. Like, wow, you really hate that bitch.
Okay.
The movie was made genuinely. Think about that.
Yeah.
It has I will say it has a better pace than Neil Breen movies. There was more interesting things happening more often that I laughed at in weird ways and more expensive.
It's the only difference.
I mean, maybe I just stick with 4.5. I'll go there, but I'm going to give it 5 brains because it's
hell yeah.
Fucking bad.
Tried to sway you.
I'm not ready for this.
The 0.5 is the little bow and arrow. It's not a full bow and arrow, just a half bow and arrow.
Oh, God. It has some great fucking stuff. The bow and arrow, the ass eating, the drum solo from
the drum solo. Is so good.
Fucking, oh my God.
Who was that was dancing?
As I'm piling it up in my mind, maybe it is a fucking 5 because it is so crazy.
When they did the drum solo.
It's really good. It probably deserves a 5. I'm not quite ready to give it that, but
I tried to start a slow clap at the end, but
maybe
no, but people looked at you and just like kept walking.
It was right when For My Wife Eleanor came out, and I was like, oh no, I can't even ironically do this anymore. I will say a shout out to Shia LaBeouf that's dressed like modern day Corey Feldman.
Did he shave his eyebrows the whole time? He had no eyebrows most of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Right, they were painted on.
I'm trying to figure out why he looks so weird.
I don't know how you could focus on that because everything else was happening. Maybe I missed the eyebrows just because of how your vision is pulled in every other direction.
Well, the lack of eyebrows made him look like a caveman. It made his his forehead look like Cro-Magnon.
Well, I'm glad we all think this is top tier trash.
Top tier.
We get a 4.375 out of it. I had 5 brains. You had 3, Adam. What did you give it, JD?
5 brains.
So 13 brains on top of that. That says something.
18 brains.
Excuse me, 18 brains.
Yeah, 5, and 4,
or 5, and 3.
Did you give it some too, Justin?
I gave it 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
18 brains.
I gave that movie 2 full hands, baby.
There's no limit to Breens. I think there's a limit to bags, but we haven't had Breens in a while. I can't think of the last movie we had Brains for, to be honest. So it's good to see some corruption, some very sincere thoughts on display in such a beautifully insane piece of art, I guess. Art trash.
A direct reference to Fateful Findings in the...
I swear to God, he's seen a Neil Breen movie, it seems like.
What happened there? Did he heal?
Sure. Yeah, it just rebuilt his face slowly. He had a gold face for a second.
Yeah, the megalodon in his face.
But then there was like a moment where it was like, oh, he's going to be like a weird Art Deco man for the rest of his life, and that's kind of cool. And then he's just Adam Driver again.
I swear they just ran out of money, but I don't know.
Francis is like, don't think about that. You're thinking about it. Don't think about it.
Your face is healed at this point.
I feel like you read an article about graphene and was like, yeah, I'm gonna put this in the movie.
One other thing that I wrote down is these scenes could have been in any order and it would have made the same amount of sense.
Maybe better,
Which for a movie about time works pretty well.
This might be the trash movie of the year. It might be the highest rating from what I can remember. Not that we watched very many.
I want to know if that giant flower arrangement of John Voight exists somewhere, or if they destroyed it, or if it was ever real to begin with. Like, it was like a 40-foot John Voight made out of flowers for his wedding.
Oh, yeah, for his wedding.
Yeah. Geez,
well, there was also the gold statue that she had made.
Yeah.
That was.
I wonder who ended up with that. Some PA just has it in his apartment.
Yeah.
I bet John has it.
Oh, yeah, he probably does.
Got Trump to sign it. You know.
All right, well, that wraps it up for the Trash Movie Kings on Megalopolis. Follow us on Instagram at Trash Movie Kings and the other things that I don't ever update because no one gives a shit about Facebook or Twitter anymore. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see ya.
I pledge allegiance to our human family and to all the species that we protect. One Earth, indivisible, with long life, education, and justice for all.
Finally. A pledge we can all agree with.
Yeah. The new sign off for every episode.
Put that in the schools.
Yeah.